Today's a good day. I have a few hours to myself. It's Sunday and I have curly hair and I have a project pan video to film. So great circumstances all around. This is a rolling style project pan and I'll have 10 products in the project at all times. Once I finish something or hit my goal, I'll roll something new in its place. I do have progress photos and differences in weight to talk about as we go, and I'm just gonna start in the order that I have the photos set up. So I will start with a cream blush from Merit. This one, I feel like you're gonna be able to see a pretty good difference. I've gone through 0.55 grams of product. I have started to show more of the bottom of the pan. It's got almost like a flower design and then an even deeper hole in the center of that flower. It's kind of hard to describe, and I think we'll both just discover more about what this pan looks like as I go. I wear this pretty much every day. I mix it with a few other things to kind of get whatever color or finish of cream blush that I'm looking for that day. It's a really sheer, workable formula, so it works well with a lot of things. And yeah, I don't remember if I gave an estimate of how long I think it would take to finish this in my last update or in my intro. Just given how often I wear this, I'm going to say 2 or 3 more months and then this will be finished. Next up is a highlighter. This one is not going to be gone in 2 or 3 months. This is definitely a longer haul product. It's the Laura Geller Baked Gelato highlighter in the shade Peach Glow. I did have pan on this in my last update, and I do think you'll be able to see that the pan has expanded. I've gone through 0.18 grams. This says it has 4.5 grams, so there's definitely a lot in here. I have worn away a lot of the product over the years. I've had this for like 6 or 7 years now. I'm wearing it on my cheeks today. I think it's beautiful. Like I said, I apply it with a stipple brush and that creates like a really softened effect. You can definitely build this up and make it very blinding, but that's not really my style right now. I had trouble even noticing a difference until I looked at the before and after photos. I think we'll just have to see this be slowly chipped away out over the months. It's gonna take a long time. If I can get this done by the end of the year though, that would be awesome. This one I think is on the same track as the Merit Cream Blush, and that's the Pixie Correction Concentrate in Brightening Peach. I am starting to wear away at the sides, so you'll see there is a chunk of it that's gone. I use the back of my fingernail to scrape out a little bit, and then I warm that up between 2 of my finger pads and then apply it underneath my concealer. I don't know if I'll bring a new color corrector in its place or if I will just replace it with a different product altogether. I'm not sure. I don't think I have a lot of other color correctors that are almost done. Actually, no, I had the Charlotte Tilbury one. I don't know. I have a couple months to think about it. My next product isn't something that I'm trying to finish or hit pan on. I'm going to try and reach for it a certain amount of times, and then I'll rotate other products from this category. And that's this bronzer from the Charlotte Tilbury Nudegasm palette. Before I brought it into this project, I had worn this bronzer 27 times, and I wanted to continue wearing it until that number of uses reached 50. So I needed to wear it 23 more times in order to roll it out. I didn't hit the 50 use mark. I'm at 46 right now, which means I wore it 19 times in the last month. I mentioned in my last update that I thought I would be able to wear away at that top pattern on the pan, and I wasn't able to do that, but I do think I wore away at some of it. I don't think another 4 uses is going to get rid of it completely, but I think the reason for that is because I don't use a very dense brush when I'm tapping into here, and I'm using a slightly smaller brush because I don't want to accidentally grab any of the other pans of product while I'm trying to pick up the bronzer. I also just don't use a lot of bronzer, especially right now in the winter. It's spring now, but it has been winter leading up to this point, and that's not really a time of the year where I'm packing on the bronzer necessarily. So I will keep it in the project and wear it 4 more times because I think I'm going to hit that threshold relatively quickly. I do want to bring in another bronzer and start using that so that I can just kind of get a head start on the next one. And honestly, I think I could actually have both of these hit the 50 use threshold before my next update. I'm bringing in another Charlotte Tilbury bronzer from another face palette. This is the Glowgasm face palette in the Lightgasm version, which I think is the lighter of the 2 options. I've worn this 39 times already, so I only need to wear it 11 more times in order to reach that 50 use mark. And so the 4 uses from the Nudegasm palette and the 11 from this palette, I need to reach for these bronzers a total of 15 times over the next month. I feel like that's pretty good odds. And then I do have a bronzer from the Smashbox face palette currently in my chopping block, And so I'll likely reach for that bronzer anytime I'm not reaching for one of these. So yeah, I'm glad to be reaching for these face palettes more often. My face palettes get kind of neglected. I have a lot of face palettes, or at least more than I ever have before. And I also have other single highlighters and blushes and bronzers that I like to reach for too. So just a lot going on, and I'm glad I'm able to better focus on these by putting them in a project pan. My next product is a blush. It's from PYT Beauty in the shade Exhale. I technically did hit my goal on this. I hit pan, but it took me forever. I think it took me over 170 uses to even reach pan. And I hit pan maybe a few days after my last update. And even though I use this every day, I apply makeup, I really haven't expanded the pan that much. I've never hit pan on a product and then worn it like 20 more times only for that pan to look the same as when I first hit it. I cannot explain it because this is a very soft powder and I have to be careful not to pick up too much product when I dip my brush in. I use a really soft brush so that it's not too scratchy because it will kick up a lot of powder. Anytime there is some powder in the pan, I try to pick that up first and use it instead of just brushing it away or blowing it away. This blush just defies physics to me, but you know, I'm not a physicist, so it probably isn't. And in my introduction, I said I would hit pan on this and then likely bring in another blush. And I don't really want to do that anymore. I think I just want to continue using this because I'm going to continue using it anyway. I use other blushes with this, so it's not like I'm neglecting any of my other blushes by keeping this in the project. So yeah, I'm just going to keep it in. I went through 0.2 grams. I'm close to 200 uses on this and it really doesn't look like I've worn it that much, so I just think it'll be fun to track as we go. This next one is the NYX lip pencil in Peekaboo Neutral. I think I only had to sharpen this twice in the past 4 or 5 weeks that I've been wearing this, so this does not need to be sharpened very often. It's a much stiffer formula, and sometimes I use it to fill in my whole lip, but often I'm just using it to outline my lip. Versus another pencil product I'm going to talk about in a second, I feel like at that one I have to sharpen like every 3 or 4 uses. So there is noticeable difference in the before and after photos, and I've gone through 0.16 grams. Some people in the comments of my intro said that I probably only have a couple sharpens left before this is gone because it doesn't go that far down in the pencil. It's a beautiful color though, so I'm gonna enjoy it while I have it. I love the NYX pencils. I know some people are upset about the change in the color and the formula that they've done. They did like a new batch, a new version. And I did do a video where I compared 3 of the original shades with 3 of the new ones. It's funny because I think in my intro I said 2 or 3 months for a lot of these products, and my answer has not changed. I'm gonna say 2 or 3 months. This is the pencil product that I said needs to be sharpened really, really often. It's the Victoria Beckham Kohl Kajal Liner in the shade Ash. You're gonna see a pretty big difference in the before and after photos. I went through 0.42 grams and I had the word satin and then part of the word kajal still on the pencil, and I've sharpened it enough where the S from that first word is almost gone. So I'm going through this pretty quickly. I'm not surprised. It's an incredibly creamy formula. I feel like I have to sharpen it once or twice a week, and I try to use it pretty regularly. Again, with these sharpenable products, I don't know how much I have left because I don't know how far down the actual pencil product goes, but a pretty decent amount of the pencil left is just a brush tip that you can use to blend it out. So there's a very real chance that I could finish this in the next month, if not definitely the month after. My next product, you won't be able to see progress very well, and that's the Smashbox Photo Finish Illuminate Glow Primer. This is the one with vitamin C. It has a bit of a golden sheen to it. There were a few times where my skin did feel a bit drier, and I would use this all over my face. There were some other times where I felt like I didn't need that much extra moisture, so I just focused it on the tops of my cheekbones where I don't mind having more of a glow. And I was testing out other primers, wearing other primers that were better with oil control and stuff like that. So this wasn't my main primer that I was wearing, but even so I was able to go through 2.72 grams. I think this will be another long haul product just because it's not my main primer. I often like to switch out depending on what sort of performance I'm looking for out of my makeup. Okay, the Lisa Eldridge gloss in the shade Muse. I held this up to a light the other day and I was actually able to see a window around the bottom. I think a lot of the product is clogged around the stopper. So together, you and I are going to take the stopper out And I might just push down the rest of the product to the bottom of the tube and then put the stopper back in. I do that often with like concealers and lip glosses because it helps keep it from getting too messy. If I take out the stopper and then keep it out, that product just globs everywhere. Every time I open up the applicator, it's just all over the tube, or all over the actual applicator tube is what I mean. I do have photos and weight differences before I do this surgery with you live on camera. You're really not going to see a big difference in the photos because the product sticks to the sides and is relatively opaque, so you're not really going to see that much of a difference, but I did go through 0.7 grams. And to remove stoppers out of things, I typically use this really, really old pair of tweezers. You can see I've worn them so much that they don't even touch at the ends like you would need a pair of tweezers to do. I have a regular pair of tweezers that I just use for my eyebrows, and then this one I use for makeup surgery, so I'm not like ruining a brand new pair of tweezers every time I need to do this. This is specifically for taking the stopper out of things. And some stoppers are easier to take out than others. I don't know if this one's going to be easy or not, but essentially I just put one of the sides of the tweezer in and then kind of dig into the side and push it up. Oh, that was really easy. You see all that product in there? This is what the inside of the tube looks like. And what I'm gonna do is very carefully sort of start at the top and like swirl around and push that product down into the tube. I've pushed most of the product down back to the bottom of the tube, and then I'm going to put the stopper back in. And typically it goes back in really easily. So I just grab it and press. So now before I've mixed it up, you can see the windowing, you can see the gaps in the product. All right, and then when you take the applicator out, it's not more messy than it was before, and I'm able to better reach the product in the tube now. And the reason I decided to do that today with you is because, well, one, I wanted to show you how to do it, but also I've been waiting to do it because when I was taking the applicator out of the tube, there wasn't a lot of product on it anymore. So it made me think that it was running low. And now that I've pushed it down, I would say I have about 1/3 of the product left. So hopefully having done that, it'll be a lot easier for me to actually get product or enough product onto the applicator for me to put on. And I'm currently at a total of 99 uses for this, so you will see this featured in my next Club 100 video. And the last one I don't have before and after photos because it's opaque packaging and you wouldn't be able to see a difference anyway, but this is the Sacheu lip liner stain in the shade Plumped. I mentioned that I wanted to just make an effort to reach for this more because I'm curious of how many uses it'll take to finish this. I've gone through 1.27 grams and I have worn this now a total of 26 times. It might be just because I'm paying more attention to it specifically, but it does feel like the formula is just the tiniest bit drier than it was when I first started applying it. And also yesterday, there was a tiny bit of a drier chunk that was on it when I applied it to my lips. So I think that means that the formula is changing a little bit from constantly pushing air in and dipping it out and pushing more air in. Actually, I would love if you wanted to take part, you could comment how many uses you think it'll take for me to finish this. I'm at 26 uses now. I don't even know what I would guess. Keep in mind, I'm likely not going to take the stopper out because I think that would get way too messy with it being a staining product, and it's a product that you apply and then it dries and you peel it off. So it's not just like a regular lipstick or lip gloss. So I'm only going to count uses up until the point where I can't get any more out with the stopper in. Obviously, I want to get as many uses as I can out of a product. I would be really happy if I could get over 50 uses out of this, but I'm not sure, and I would love to hear what your guesses are in the comments. And then we can see who got the closest, who ends up being the winner. All right, so that's everything. I don't have any rollouts just yet. I technically am rolling out the bronzer after I wear it 4 times and bringing in a new one, but for the most part, I feel like I'm making really good progress. I might have an empty or 2 next time. We'll just have to see, but I am really glad to be project panning again. It's, like I said, one of my favorite types of videos to watch, and I miss it. I've been project panning since the beginning of my channel, and I'm just really glad to be back at it. But in the meantime, that's everything I have. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!